Another thing I saw when the boats came out, the Budweiser, I think, tried something new. Scott ran the boat very hard down the backstretch as he was testing something. Something was different. He wanted to see how it feels.
That's right.
Mike, they're coming around for the start. Take us away.
I think it's going to be an interesting one, and they may let them go this time. There's good bunching here. The white flag is up. Look for that Budweiser to really pound the throttle down. The water conditions, as Chip pointed out, very much favor the Budweiser right now. And if the American Spirit can pinch the Winston, this could be most interesting. Let's see if we get a green flag this time. They are coming down fairly well together. Now they're kind of sliding back and forth. They're going to let them go around one more time. No green. They'll let him go around one more time. That just makes it all the more tense for Scott Pierce, because you know he wants to jump on this the second he can, and you could tell he was just sweating to do it.
It does something else, too. It also roughens up the race course a bit. We just talked about the advantage maybe going to the Budweiser a little bit with smoother water. Just got taken away. Look at him cut up that race course. All those boats are digging big holes, and this is going to go towards the Winston.
Okay, still I think, though, the strategy has to be just exactly as we've mentioned it. Scott still must run very fast through this turn, and he's got to hope that he gets an out-of-position Winston Eagle for just a second or two in order to pull this off.
He's looking for help from the Pepsi American Spirit. He's hoping that the Pepsi American Spirit can get to the first corner with the Budweiser, hold him in tight, make him slow the boat down to turn sharp, and maybe he'll get a nice run through the first corner.
Interesting enough, these are the kind of mind games that did not exist when the clock was ticking down, so you get something, you lose something, but it's still most interesting and intriguing nevertheless. Boats are nicely bunched now as they go through the corner, and the outside pace boat, which is, of course, the Edge Hunan Harbor, is staying up with the rest of them. Scott, of course, wants a clear view at that flag because he wants to throttle up just the second he sees that flag appear on the barge. Still have the white up. Looks like we may get a start this time. Nicely bunched. They're coming down the line. The green flag is up, and they're racing on Lake Washington.
This time, Scott got a better grab on the throttle. He was about a second and a half faster than the Winston. Unfortunately, he doesn't have the lane.
Let's watch the corner, though. He does have the speed right now. The Winston Eagle's coming up to power. They're side by side now, and it appears the American Spirit is not going to be able to play spoiler and do any pinching at this point, but Scott does have very good acceleration still through the corner. The Winston paints the buoys very tightly, and the Miss Budweiser does come out with the advantage Scott needed to have. Down the back chute now, it is the Budweiser about 2 boat lengths ahead. The Winston Eagle on the inside. This next turn will paint the difference.
It looked to me like Mark pinched the boat too tight. He slowed the boat speed down to turn the boat too tight. Scott kept the boat speed up and came out neck and neck. Now Scott's got to keep him in there tight. He didn't do it. He didn't push the Winston up to the buoy line. I think he made a big mistake there.
Yeah, and they're going to come out of that turn side by side, but it looks like the Miss Budweiser will take the advantage at the line. Listen to the crowd. There's the Thunder and Thunderboat Racing. First time across the line.
The Budweiser got way up in the air. He had to come out of the throttle. Now the Winston's up in the air. That hurt Scott bad.
And they're both going through that corner. This time the Miss Budweiser indeed lost some ground because of that flightiness. And the Winston Eagle, that's the boat on the lower side of your screen. The Budweiser, the boat coming out now on the bottom of the screen trying to catch him. And Scott Pierce just must continue the pressure.
That little bit of air under the boat, that's the difference. Scott got the boat way up in the air, had to come way off the throttle. The Winston immediately got back 3 or 4 boat lengths, but then the Winston got up in the air a little bit.
All right, first lap, 139 for the Winston, 136 for the Budweiser, so they're staying right in there, and Scott is not letting go. He is determined. He is dogged now. He's going for it. And the Miss Budweiser is still putting the pressure on the Winston Eagle at the end of lap number 2, only a couple of seconds between them. There's a 147 for the Winston. That's a new record, 141 for the Miss Budweiser, and she's staying in on. And that lower corner is rough as they go through, but you can see that the Winston has picked up a few more feet on him.
I'm afraid it's all over at this point. If Scott would have made as tight a corner in the north turn the previous lap, I think he would have held Mark in tight, and they would be deck to deck right now. Again, we spoke earlier in the day of the Budweiser getting out of shape, giving the Winston an advantage, and I think that's what you're seeing right now.
You're talking about the ability to pound across it as opposed to fly over it, and that was the difference. He did get an advantage. The door opened for a moment there in that first lap, but he wasn't able to take full advantage of it, and that was perhaps a driving error because he could have pinched him into the buoy row and actually forced some distance on him, but he did not take advantage of that move.
Missed opportunity, and then when the boat got up in the air, that just aggravated it.
Indeed it did. Okay, lap 3 is over for the Winston Eagle at 145.6. Also for the Budweiser at 4 9/10 seconds behind at 138.195. Third place is the Pepsi American Spirit, and Mark Evans still still doing a very credible job, and Mike Ekert, by the way, is running nicely as well. In fourth place, though, a half-course length behind. In fact, the leader is now beginning to catch up, going down the back chute as you see the Winston Eagle doing so right now. That wake in the foreground of the Winston Eagle is coming from Mike Ekert's boat, the Oh Boy Alberto. Let's look at them as they go now, again into the corner. Now, Scott is keeping the pace, but he is not putting the pressure on at this point.
He's not. You know, it shows how equal these two boats are. But for a little bit of wind under the boat and a missed opportunity to pinch the Winston in at the north turn, I think the Budweiser could have won this race from the fourth lane.
If there's any consolation in Chip, at least Scott knows that now.
Exactly. I think Scott, even though he's going to come out of this probably in second place instead of first, I think he's going to come out with more confidence. And it also going to give the crew an opportunity to see that the boat's got a little bit of a problem. They'll make some changes in the final heat. We might see an entirely different Budweiser boat.
All right, Winston Eagle rounding that lower corner from the helicopter. You saw it. She's passing some slower traffic. That's Mike Ekert in the Oh Boy Alberto. And as the Winston goes by the boat there, as you see from the air, the Alberto is a lap down on him now. Winston Eagle on the final and checkered flag lap. And Mark Tate definitely managed to escape the bullet that time because Scott just simply didn't pull the trigger fast enough on him.
Exactly.
And as a result, the Winston Eagle is going to pick up its second victory this afternoon, but it's certainly not over. Scott did learn something very valuable in this one. Winston Eagle comes down to take the checkered flag now. Its second win of the day, Heat 2A.
You know, one thing I did see that Scott should be very proud of is he picked up the throttle about a second and a half earlier than the Winston. He turned the tables on him last time, and I think he learned what that'll do for him, and I think you'll see him be more aggressive at the start line in the final.
No question about it. Well, and he did not get the advantage that we thought the Pepsi American Spirit could give him, but Mark actually made a driving mistake going through the first turn and stayed in too tight, got himself a little sideways there at the fifth turn buoy, and that's exactly where Scott took advantage of him for speed, but then he had the chance to close the door on him in the upper corner, and he didn't do it. That was where the error was.
You know, and Mark just got the boat too tight. What happens is you turn the boat tighter and tighter, it just goes slower and slower, and he had an opportunity, it just missed it.
Well, Scotty, you got out there, you accelerated off the start. The guys at the start-finish line, Mike and Chip both said, as good a start as they've seen, did the job, took a little bit of air, slowed things down just a little bit. Explain what happened when Winston was able to get by you.
Well, he drove by me when the boat was way up in the air, and, you know, all I could do was put the Miss Budweiser back on the water, and I wanted to win the heat real bad, but I want to win the final heat more. And now my team has something that they can work with. Had I just stayed on the pedal, it'd be sitting out here in about 3 pieces, and we'd be done for. So, you know, we got to tighten the boat up. We made some big changes for this heat. Obviously, the boat's a lot better. It's a terrible disadvantage to be on the outside, and had the boat stayed anywhere near the water, then I feel confident I would have beat him. I was ahead of him when it got up.
One of the things that Chip was saying is that you probably did, in fact, learn that you can race out there in that outside lane because the Budweiser was running off the start and coming through, and until you caught the air, you were running away.
Well, that's what I was trying to accomplish in the first heat, was to see if I could run with them, you know, because the draw is going to determine my lane. And I'm not giving up on winning a boat race if I get outside like I have all day. But it's telling us a good tale, too. I mean, the boat's really telling us what it wants, and they gave us a real good warning there, and we got the best people in the business to work on this boat, and I assure you their eyeballs saw it also, and we'll fix it.
There were some gasps over here. Scotty, one final question. What would it mean to you today to win the Rainier Cup out here on Lake Washington in front of all the hometown fans? What's it mean to you?
Well, it means a lot to even be here. I'm going to win it one lap at a time, and it's going to take me 5 of them, and I plan to discuss the rest of the ramifications of my potential winning with you at about 4:30.
Scotty Pierce, thanks a lot. Ron?
Well, the winner of Heat 2A, Mark Tate, congratulations. Scotty had you for a little while there, but then he got a little air.
Yeah, the Budweiser was coming off the corner a little better than the Winston Eagle that heat. We had a lot of compression stalling coming off the corner, so we were really down on acceleration, but three-quarters of the way up the front chute, Scotty got pretty light, and the Winston pulled up on him and took control of the race from there. What can we say? The team performed a beautiful boat out there, put together, and I just drove it as best I could.
Now, on the way back in, you turn it off, the temperature gauge going up a little bit. What's the concern there?
Well, basically, we heard a motor in the first heat. We put this motor in. This wasn't one we really wanted to run here for the second heat, but we got the bomb left for the final, so the Winston Eagle will be well prepared for the final.
All right, right, good luck in the final. Let's go back to Wayne Cody.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ronnie. When we come back, we're going to take a look at something I never want to do, and that's walk on the wing.
And the inside lane finds Mitch Evans, and he is in a great position to be a spoiler in this one.
I smell a boat race coming here. I think Mitch is going to stick it right to the Kellogg's and right to the Hyperloop T+. I smell a boat race coming.
Yeah, well, you just heard it from one of the best noses in the sport. So,
yeah, this could very easily be one of the best races of the day.
Yeah, could very well. Okay, the lineup is going to be good, but the Go Bowling is doing a little trailing, guys. I don't know about that free-run match tomorrow in the lanes. The white flag is up. I think they'll let him go this time.
Mitch has got to get on the accelerator with that piston engine.
The one who can see the flag best is Steve David. He does. He gets up on it quick.
Mitch has got a great start.
Mitch gets a good start,
Mitch
too.
out in front with a 1930s vintage piston engine. He's putting it to him.
All right, that's the boat, of course, on the right-hand side of your screen, and Mitch is sticking it to him as he goes into the lower corner out front with a great lead. I mean, absolutely beautiful start for Mitch Evans and the Oh Boy Oberto, but now look at the turbines. They're now getting up the power range, and we have both of them side by side. The Frosted Flakes and the T+ very close. We may have a violation there. It looks as though the Frosted Flakes slid out, though, and the T+ did not close into my thinking, but that may not be the case. The officials see it.
Look at Mitch. He is not giving away anything to these people.
All right.
Yeah, you got me. You got a bigger sword, but I'm staying with you.
Steve David is your leader now going into that upper turn, and Mitch Evans is holding the inside lane and keeping the throttle down in that piston-powered Oh Boy Oberto. Great corner for Mitch, but the horsepower is not there now, and he has to give up the slot. And the first boat across the line at the end of lap number 1 will be the T+ Hyperloop. Speed 127, Mitch is in there 125, and the Kellogg's Frosted Flakes is third across the line at 117. It looks as though now, as you see the T+ rolling down into the lower corner, that he has the advantage. Mitch is not able now to catch him horsepower-wise, but Steve David is able to close the door, which he does. He comes across the inside lane here shortly. He should put Mitch outside of him now.
I'll tell you what, he's getting out technology, he's not getting out driven, and the fact that he can even hold the Kellogg's Frosted Flakes off is a credit to Mitch Evans.
No question about it. Nobody beats Mitch Evans. They only beat his boat. His race boat is in second place at this time. You're looking at the T+ Hyperloop getting loose as it comes across this choppy north turn on lap number 2. I'm looking to see if there's any damage, and I really don't see any on either of both, but a good bounce. Don't see any damage in any event on the T+, so I have to assume that the two boats didn't actually touch, but they came awful close there.
Oh, no, Mitch is in trouble. Mitch's engine's gone down. Unfortunate. Really deserved better than that. I would have liked to have seen Mitch step outside after Steve David went by him and got out and try and hold the Frosted Flakes off from the outside, but unfortunately it looks like Mitch's heat has come to an end.
That it does, and Mitch is now up on the boat. He's fine. Second lap for the Hyperloop, 126.9. That's the Hyperloop Miss T+, and 126.3 for the Frosted Flakes, which is beginning to close some ground now on the Hyperloop, as it appears that Mike Hansen is trying to get competitive now here and see what he can do to close up the door. Here you see Steve David flying down the back chute, three-quarter mark of the straightaway of the outside boat. Behind him is, of course, the Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. Mike Hansen is maintaining better acceleration, it appears, longer into the corner and trying to catch up, but there's some distance to make up. Meanwhile, you see the T+ Miss Hyperloop, or the Hyperloop Miss T+, I should say, come across and finish lap number 3. Speeds are in the high 120s for the T+. So far, they are again, well, middle 120s, 124 here.
Mike, a quick question. How fast does the second place boat have to run? 3, 4, 5, 6 miles an hour faster to catch up?
About 6, and he's running right now about 3. He's running about 127.2 to the 124.5 of the T+, so he is working on him. There's no question he's trying to reel him in. He's got a couple of laps to try to do it, and he can hope to break him. That's the one thing he can hope to do, but Steve David knows he's got to stay out in front. Absolutely must stay out in front. Meanwhile, your second place boat, of course, is still trying to reel in, and that's the Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. Your third place boat overall is the KMPS Jackpot Food Mart, just going across the line at 109.5 now, half course length behind the two lead boats. And Mitch Evans, unfortunately, out for this one. He kept it stabbed as much as possible, though.
Both those drivers did a great job avoiding a collision. They didn't, neither one of them turned violently one direction or the other to avoid themselves. They just eased the boats away from each other, and I think they're both to be commended for that.
Yeah, very tight racing there, and I don't think we did have any violation, as a matter of fact. All right, we're on the checkered flag lap now, and this time Steve David has decided to pick the pace up a little bit. He comes across the line at 127.7, and the Frosted Flakes has decided to let him have it now. He comes across at 126.1. The Frosted Flakes will probably advance now into the into the last chance. And interestingly enough, it has made the final at every stop on the tour this year, but the only way it's made the final is to come through the last chance heat.
And let's look at that last chance for a minute. Let's assume that Mitch Evans' problem is not that fatal, that they can fix the boat and get into the last chance final. That would be something if they could beat the turbine boat and make it to the final.
Clearly not out of the game yet. Mitch is not. He's never out of the game. When he's out of engines, he's out of the game. He's not out of engines this time. All right, your winner of Heat 2B of the 1991 Rainier Cup. Here it comes across the line. The Hilton Hyperloop boat. This is the Miss T+. Steve David across at 123.4. Interesting about this boat too, gentlemen, as the Frosted Flakes finishes at 124.7. This particular boat, 25 years ago, the Hilton Hyperloop people were here, and one of their rookie crew members was a young guy by the name of Jim Harvey. This year he owns the race boat, and 25 years later, the Hilton boys are back in the winning circle.
It's great to see. It's a Seattle sponsor, and it's good to see Northwest companies out here participating.
Now here's a guy that's got more going on in his head than that towboat would certainly indicate. There's no question about it.
Right now, my driver of the day, I know we're only halfway through, but the driver of the day, in my opinion, has been Mitch Evans. The guy has done everything he possibly can, given the tool he's been given. I think we got Steve David down in the pits.
Chip, I think you're absolutely right. Steve David, as he climbed out of the cockpit, walked up to the front of the boat and kissed the nose. That means you must be happy with the ride.
Oh, that was for Hyperlube and T+ from Hilton Oil. Without those guys helping my crew, we wouldn't have been there, and we couldn't have a better sponsor, and I couldn't have a better crew in that cockpit with me.
Describe the conditions out there, and the racing got pretty tight there for just a couple minutes with the Frosted Flakes.
It was challenging. Mike Hansen's a terrific guy, and the Frosted Flakes crew has worked so hard this week, and it was just a great race. The conditions were challenging, and I'm looking forward to getting in the final with them and doing everything we can.
We are watching, or the folks at home at least are watching the race as we're talking about it right now. As you get in those close quarters, what are the kinds of things that are going through your mind? And inside that very tight cockpit, can you see what's happening around you, Steve?
Yeah, I've got 4 mirrors inside. Thank you. And my main concern really is everybody else's safety. I'm giving them all the room that I feel I can without giving up the race, so I don't want to hurt anybody. And we also want to win, so you're balancing those two with the margin being on the safety side.
I got to ask you, we talked a little bit earlier, your success in so many other fields, not just boat racing, but in real estate, in teaching, all those kinds of things. What is it about boat racing, then, that keeps you coming back? It's certainly a dangerous sport. You're a very intelligent man.
Oh, it's, I don't know about intelligence, but it's the familial aspect. All of the people, the children that follow the sport, my crew, it's just a large family, and I came from a large family, and my mom died last year, so this kind of replaces what my mother had, and I just feel like I couldn't have a better family in the world to be with than the sports fans of unlimited hydroplane racing and my crew.
Steve, we are also going to be looking at some video right now coming into that first turn. Again, that close racing, just how tight does it get when everybody starts to move in looking for that advantage?
Well, when you funnel in like that, there's only 10 feet separation between boats, and I know Mitch Evans was giving it his best, and I was just trying to leave that 10-foot separation between he and Kellogg's and then myself and Kellogg's. And you just hope that everything helps and nothing goes wrong, because you don't want to run over anybody.
You certainly don't, and you didn't, and you won the heat, and we look forward to seeing you in the final. Steve, thanks.
Thank you, and appreciate Kiro's coverage of this race.
We appreciate you driving. Rick Corella?
I'm here on the dock with Jerry Hopp. The bowlers are lining up right here on the dock now, Jerry. On behalf of all of us, thank you for the nice heat.
All right, I saw about 500,000 nooses being swung off of trees out there. I figured I better get this thing around. We got it. We got our lap. Everybody's going to get a free game of bowling that goes into a participating center and says they saw the boat run today. Go for it.
Now, Jerry, honestly, what are the chances we bowl all day for free tomorrow? What are you going to do in the final?
Okay, now I've got the big challenge, right? Well, Al's going to do a little bit of secret work on the boat here. We're going to cover it up with towels and stuff so the other camps can't see it. Turn the boost up. Watch out, Budweiser and Winston.
Wayne, it looks like we're going to be covered for tomorrow.